Hey, it's Mayor Walter Sendzik, and welcome back to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter weekend, those who are celebrating the Christian faith. Hopefully you got together with friends and family, and it's been a while since we've been able to get together with friends and family for Easter, and so hope everyone had a wonderful time. And we are celebrating Ramadan as well. It's the month of Ramadan, so hope everyone is enjoying their abilities to be with friends and family as you are able to enjoy meals after the fasting. It is a special time here in Niagara. Spring is I believe it's one of the best seasons because it's about renewal, it's about rebirth, and there's such an energy as we head into spring and summer. And so hopefully you've been able to get out and about in our community and explore all of the unique things that make St. Catharines, Niagara a beautiful place to live and be a part of something so wonderful. In today's show, we have a couple of different discussions we're going to be touching on. One is a youth mentorship program for Black youth in our community, and also talking about human trafficking, which is, interestingly enough, for Niagara, it is very much a point of contact for a lot of people coming through. Human trafficking is a very significant issue here in Niagara. And then after the break, we're going to have a discussion about a new memorial that is being created here in St. Catharines. It's a firefighters memorial that's being built in St. Catharines, and we're going to learn more about that. But first, Nyarayi, we have our first guest. Nyarayi is with Toes Niagara. And you've been on the show before.
Yes, I have. I'm still as nervous as the first time.
There's nothing to be nervous about. We're just having a conversation about a program. And it's interesting because you've been working on a very important program, and it's wonderful to see your idea of a Black youth mentorship program in schools come to life. And it's been a passion of yours to develop this program, and it was with the Niagara Catholic Board that you were first able to really get that opportunity. So tell us a bit about the youth empowerment program and that mentorship program and why you wanted to see this come to life in our schools.
Well, it's because, Walter, I believe that mentorship is important for all youth. Everybody needs guidance, everybody needs role models, and research has shown that Black youth or racialized youth don't often get role models. And when you look at Niagara region, in the schools that they are in, they don't really get to see themselves represented in positions of power or authority. And so we thought, I thought it would be great to have a program that addresses that, as well as a program that addressed the mental well-being of the Black or racialized youth in the schools. And
the program itself, so getting it up and running, the Niagara Community Foundation played a role.
Absolutely.
And so what role, how did they come into play here and help bring this program to life?
Well, the program wouldn't have been if it wasn't for Niagara Community Foundation. They funded the whole program with the school board, with both school boards, the Catholic School Board and the District School Board. So they played a huge part of bringing the money into the picture for us to be able to run the program for the kids.
So bringing the program, take us through what it would be like for, I believe it starts at the age of 12, so grade 7, through until high school. So what was that program, if from the perspective of a youth, what would they get as part of this mentorship programming?
So the program has, I would like to say, 2 or 3 facets to it that are important. The first one is kind of an in-class part where they're going through modules of topics and subjects that we have selected that we think are important to the kids, things like career exploration, financial literacy, mental health, and then the second part is the mentorship one-on-one with the mentors, where they get to meet somebody who is in a career field that they want to be in, that they can help them through the process and the journey. And then the third, which for me is the most important, is the aspect of addressing the mental well-being of the students, because we know that the students are going through a lot of trauma, I think, from racism in the schools. And so most of the times you find they have nobody to talk to, somebody who can give the help that is culturally relevant. And so we have Dr. Ayodeji Ayorinde from Queen's University who handles that part. And so the kids and the families have somebody they can talk to should they need to address the mental well-being and their mental health.
So you touched on the racism piece, and I just want to have a brief discussion about that and the experience of BIPOC students, Black and Indigenous people of color students in our school systems. There would be some who would say, well, there's not racism in our schools. That kids today don't see those what may have been previous generations. A lot of that racial undertone. Talk about what it's like still today, and how people of color, youth, how they see racism in the schools per se.
I think the problem is that, not maybe the problem, but the reason why people would say that the racism doesn't exist anymore is because it tends to be very subtle or it's systemic. And so the students themselves see it through the way they are treated in the schools, and even, unfortunately, with some of their counterparts, their colleagues, where people are still using the N-word in the schools, and it's acceptable. I don't know if it's acceptable, but nobody seems to do anything about it. And so when we sit with the students, in the first module that they do for the mentorship program is called Black History. And we have Dr. Kitosa and Dr. Jean from Brock University who run that. And one of the things they do is a session where the kids sit and talk about the experiences that they're having in the schools. And it is actually very shocking when you hear the kids tell the stories of the things that they experience from the teachers, from other students, and just from the system as a whole. So
when we talk about systemic racism, and there's certain people who struggle with seeing that systemic racism, how does this program on the mentorship piece, how does that program start to break apart that systemic nature of what's been embedded in institutions for generations?
Well, I think what it starts, for the most part, the most important part is the students having a platform where we talk about what Black means and positive Black masculinity and femininity, and we talk about the kind of things that they're capable of doing, and having the mentors, and the mentors are right from across the board, right? Having the mentors open doors that have been traditionally closed to them in career fields that have been traditionally closed to them, and so the mentorship program gives them that platform to break into all these parts that before they couldn't get into or have had trouble getting into because they were specifically kind of set aside for the white folk.
And the mentors themselves, how when you started the program, how did you get the mentors in? What fields did they come from? Did you find, is it easy to go out there and get people involved on the mentorship side?
It is actually, because a lot of people want to help the youth. They want to make a difference. They want to give back to the community, and I find a lot of the mentors have found that the mentorship program of being a mentor one-on-one with a student is a great way of giving back. And so we specifically targeted careers that are not, what do we call them? Careers where Black students were not normally going into, like off the beaten track, right? And careers where we need Black representations for the students to be able to address issues like, disaster management or healthcare or policing or those kind of careers where they don't normally go into. And so the people want to see a change, people want to see a difference, and so they've come to the table willingly to be mentors, which we are grateful for sure.
Wow. Well, congratulations on such an important program that I hope has a long runway for youth year over year to be able to be a part of that. And TOES Niagara, that's only one part of what you do. There's other aspects that you do, tools of empowerment and success. And one of the other areas that you've been very involved in is human trafficking. And so tie that together, how TOES and human trafficking and what your efforts are in our community around that.
Well, I mean, human trafficking usually targets the vulnerable, right? And we find that the youth is vulnerable. And Niagara, being a border city, is also a place where it's vulnerable. And then the poverty in some of the cities that we work within like Welland and whatnot, makes the youth even more vulnerable. And so through the mentorship program, when we look at career exploration and we talk about, different issues that affect the youth, human trafficking is one of them. And the face of human trafficking has changed, right? Gone are the days where people thought of a white van and a weird-looking man dragging kids into a van. there's cyber human trafficking, there is grooming happening within the schools while kids are living at home with their parents. And so all those issues we talk about with the youth, and it's one of the issues that the youth have come across. And so we realize, we need to do a lot more education awareness around human trafficking and who it affects and how it affects the kids, and not just, your typical kids that everybody thought of before, but everybody is susceptible to human trafficking. And so we've worked in partnership with a number of organizations from across the globe, really, because when you look at the Palermo Protocol, there was I think what it is I can't.
No, it's one of because we had a symposium together.
Yeah.
We were at Brock University, and you helped coordinate an international effort to learn more about what's happening and the networking, the trafficking that's taking place, not just within one country, but the extension of, and you've been in Romania, you've been in a number of different countries over the last 6 months, doing more of that foundational work. And so I guess one of the last pieces just want to touch on is if someone is thinking that there's human trafficking going on in a school or in their community, where would they go to report it?
Oh, there's a few places. First of all, Canada has an anti-human trafficking toll-free line that they can call. And then in Niagara region, they can call the local police or the Special Services Unit. They deal with human trafficking issues. And then there's a number of organizations, right? We are there. We've got YWCA. We've got Sophie Fran, that if people are not comfortable going into places like the NRPS, they can go into local community organizations and just report victims of human trafficking identification.
Well, the work that you're doing on human trafficking, the work you're doing with the mentorship program, Toes Niagara is really an organization that is leading in terms of bringing people together, exploring issues, but also building the foundations of success for so many people. And so it's your leadership. I've been impressed with your leadership since the first day that we got to meet a number of years ago.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the success with the program. If you're looking to learn more about the mentorship program or some of the other initiatives that Toes is working on, their website has all the information. Just check out Toes Niagara, and you'll be able to start to learn and explore so many of the different initiatives that you've been bringing to life. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of our community, and best wishes with Toes Niagara, and thank you to the Community Foundation, to the school boards for partnering with you. Looking forward to having you back on the show and talking about the successes of the program, and maybe bring some of the students with you.
Oh, absolutely.
So we can talk about what it's like to go through a mentorship program, and where do they see success as well. So looking forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you for having me.
Right after the break, we're going to have Barry Katzman coming in. He's going to be talking about the Firefighters Memorial that we're establishing here in the city of St. Catharines. So you don't want to miss that one either. Hi, welcome back to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. And for this part of the show, we're going to be talking about a memorial that's being created here in St. Catharines, long overdue. And it's one that the community can get involved in. And it's something that I think you're going to have a lot of interest as we talk about the Firefighters Memorial that's being created here in St. Catharines. And it's being led by Barry Katzman, who is the chair of the Firefighters Fallen Memorial Task Force, the committee that we have here at the City of St. Catharines. Barry, you're no stranger to fundraising. Your family has been doing fundraising for as long as I can remember. Your dad was very involved in the fundraising efforts for the new hospital here in St. Catharines, and previous to that, you and your family have been involved, I think, in almost every fundraising endeavor that has taken place here in the City of St. Catharines. And it's building communities is never easy. There's a lot of effort that goes into this. And you've been involved in the wine industry, you're now involved in the cannabis industry, and you build businesses. That's what you do. You've also been involved in the mayor's golf tournament, which
highlight right there.
A highlight, the grape and wine industry in terms of the board of directors there. And while you come across as younger on TV, than you would in person.
Yes.
You look younger than me.
Oh, I don't know about that. I wouldn't go. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the family history, but you're pushing it on that last point. But I'll take it, and it's greatly appreciated.
This job's aged me, trust me.
Yes.
So, as you got into the cannabis industry, you got younger. As I became mayor, I became older.
That's right. Well, that's why, sticking with wine and cannabis and beer in my youth is the reason why I've been able to stay this way versus politics, which will absolutely chew you up, as you know.
Oh, that's great. It's good to have you on the show. And this is a subject matter that's very close to you.
Yes.
So you've been chair of the committee now for the last couple of years. What drew you to being such an instrumental part of creating a firefighters memorial here in St. Catharines?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity here, Mayor, and you've been a very staunch supporter of this initiative as well, and that needs to be stated. It's a combination of what you said at the outset of this conversation and something personal. So what you said at the outset about our family history and my personal involvement, my sister, my brother, and my dad, of course. We learned community service and contribution to the community literally, at the dinner table growing up. And as time's gone on, I've never really ever not been, flabbergasted by the support that you get from this community. So I've been really honored and lucky to be involved in a lot of those initiatives. But it does provide me with the experience of fundraising, of rallying political support, of rallying community support behind a worthy initiative. So with that in my background, as you stated, I was in Colorado Springs, Colorado in 2013. That's how far back this goes. I was there because my father-in-law, Larry Hall, late father-in-law Larry Hall, was being memorialized at the International Firefighters Memorial in Colorado Springs as a fallen firefighter. His passing directly linked to his being a firefighter. And I was there with Ryan Medill, who was head of the Firefighters Union in St. Catharines at that point in time, and still is to this day. And I asked him at the reception that was there, do we have one of these in St. Catharines? Is there a place to honor firefighters just as my father-in-law was being honored in Colorado? Since that time, I went on to see my father-in-law memorialized at the National Memorial in Ottawa, at the Provincial Memorial right across from Queen's Park. They're all stunning, moving tributes, not just to the fallen, but to the whole profession of firefighters. And so I started Googling around and realizing that not only does St. Catharines not have this, but just about every other community in Ontario for sure, and probably across Canada does. You would be surprised, I know you're not, Mayor, because we spoke about it, but I think viewers would be surprised to see communities a tenth the size of St. Catharines that have elaborate and moving tributes to fallen firefighters. So I thought, now that I knew that and experienced that, if I combined what you said at the beginning about a lengthy experience in both fundraising and rallying community support, and I could get political support for it from yourself and other people involved in our city, then as long as the firefighters were down with it, we would go for it. And that's exactly what happened, and that's why we struck the committee about a year and a half probably ago. But it's something that's going back 9 years since we started talking about it.
Well, that's the thing in getting something like this to the stage it is today, because tell us where the location of the memorial is going to take place, because that took a while to secure a location. So talk about the location and the process of the selection to get to where the actual memorial will start to come to life. So
the sort of overarching comment is there's more to it when you involve the city and city resources. Rightly so. It's taxpayers and there's politics involved. And then I think I or others like me that move in the private sector and move entrepreneurial that would move. So it has taken a little bit of time. The flip side of that is there's an immense amount of detail that has gone into it. So we're taking a parquet that the city had designated years ago for landscape development. It's right across from where the Performing Arts Center is at the corner of Carlisle, Race, and McGuire Streets. It's actually a triangular piece right there. People will know it well because it's very close to the arena, the Performing Arts Center, and even the old Gatecliff Arena. Yep. So it's a piece of a property that's high profile, roads on three sides, but there'd been nothing done to it. So we then went through an elaborate RFP process, both expressions of interest, RFP process, jury. We brought people from, and it's important to recognize, the primary purpose of this is to recognize fallen firefighters, recognize the firefighting profession, an old profession, as with relics like this around. It goes back over 100 years. But also, this is going to be a cultural and artistic contribution to the city's landscape. So we had people from the arts community, people from cultural community. We had lots of involvement from elected officials, tremendous involvement from the firefighters, both at their administrative level, plus the rank and file level, and the union level, and came together to coalesce around something that I think will be a very, very moving tribute. This is not a plaque or a little shield. This is an entire park redevelopment with a bronze statue in the middle. And we've structured donation opportunities around various levels. So whether you're a member of a fallen firefighter's family, such as I am, whether you're a corporation or a fund that helps the community, or whether you're just an individual, there's donor recognition opportunities all the way through it. And my last point, Mayor, and I apologize I got on a little, but I really hope that when this is completed, that we will prove, I know it's not the first project to do this, but I hope it's a shining example of how the public and private corporation can come together. The city can't fund this themselves, and we recognize that. And if we waited for that, we would be another 9 years. Yeah. What we asked the city to do was take its existing resources and assist us, we the firefighters, we the private citizens, we the corporate community, and we'll do the rest. And if it works the way we think it's going to work, Mayor, then hopefully that's a template for future projects.
No, and that's the uniqueness of what you've done with this project. And you've got a strong working committee. There was an unveiling, and we've seen some images. There was an unveiling of the fallen firefighters sign that's at the location. And at that event, I believe the firefighters, as a union, they have the first donation that they made to it. And
they did. We have 5 opportunities at $50,000. We have taken great measures to make this, a solemn type of memorial. So the donor opportunities are limited. It's not a private corporate thing. But the firefighters, to their credit, and their union, led by Ryan, and tremendous support from Chief Upper, et cetera, made the first $50,000 commitment and have signed for that already.
That's amazing. So $50,000 to kick it off. It's about a $500,000 campaign, and looking to get businesses involved. But also, you touched on the families, and there's been a number of firefighters who have unfortunately passed away in the line of duty, and they're all going to be recognized at the site, and the families can make specific contributions in their name. Yeah,
there's various levels. So that $50,000 level is limited to 5 only, and there's a recognition related to that. There's a brick program as well, where individuals, and in between is things like benches and other things, and we've reserved those for the firefighters' families. If the firefighters' family, there's no adjustment to the contribution level because the costs are what they are, but we reserved it as a first right in case they wanted to do something a little more, which our family is doing, and I know others are doing as well.
So for anyone who's looking to make donations or get more information, there's a website set up?
Yeah, we're basically kicking off the fundraising component as we speak. There's a website which is stcatharines.ca/Firefighters Memorial.
Yep, you got it.
Fallen Firefighters, correction. So it's stcatharines.ca/Fallen Firefighters. And that'll guide you through, and that's a manned website, so if you have questions, responses can happen. And basically, we have a limited number of bricks. I think it's around 300. bricks that you can have engraved for $400. A lot of the firefighters themselves are obviously taking those up, as are a lot of other people. So what we've really tried to do is make this as far-reaching to the community as we possibly can. So if you're something like the Firefighters Union or a community fund that does beneficial things in the community, if you're a corporation, this is a lasting tribute to a very noble profession, one that's been around for hundreds of years, that puts people in harm's way, as proven by the 30-plus names that'll be memorialized there.
Right. Well, I want to thank you on behalf of our community, Barry, for the work that you've done to get this memorial to a place where we are going to have a fitting firefighters memorial here in St. Catharines. Your family's history, the work that you're doing with the firefighters, with Ryan and Chief Upper and all the other people associated with the committee. This is going to be an impactful moment, and I'll leave with this. It's also going to be a contemplative place, and I think you've talked about that regularly at our committee meetings. It's not just going to be a place in which for one time a year we'll be able to gather and remember. It'll be a place where families can come and remember, but also members of our community can come and contemplatively be a part of a very special parkette. So I want to thank you for all the work that you've done.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks for all your support on this.
And I also want to say happy Passover to you and your
much.
family and to our Jewish community. April is a month of many festivities taking place, from Easter to Ramadan to Passover. I hope everyone's being able to be with their family and friends in such special ways. It's been a long time that we've been able to do that, especially during the April month here in our community. And looking forward to seeing you out and about at so many of the different events that are taking place, whether it's at the Performing Arts Center, whether it's in our downtown community spaces. Looking forward to seeing you out and about. So until our next show, look after one another, take care of each other, and do what you can to be a part of our community. Take care.